There's also the question, how do you communicate facts smartly? Sometimes you know that a post or some news is definitely wrong, but not everybody is willing to believe that. What can you do in such cases? Here are a few pieces of advice to help you make facts easily understood. First of all, emphasize what's true. The danger is if there are misleading stories going viral and you're trying to counter it, you end up repeating the wrong claim. Several years ago, for example, there was the claim that then US President Barack Obama was a Muslim. This is incorrect. But well-intentioned people might reply, no, Barack Obama is not a Muslim. Be careful. In this case, you're actually repeating the false claim. All you're doing is putting a no or is not in front of it. It's smarter to focus on what's right. Here, for example, you could reply, no, Barack Obama is a Christian. Or somebody claims that the climate crisis was invented by greedy scientists. You might well get angry and answer, no, the climate crisis is not an invention. But you should rather focus on what's true. You can say, for example, the climate crisis is real, the Earth is getting hotter, and humans are unfortunately the cause of these rising temperatures. Here's a second piece of advice. Some people are fully convinced that some misinformation is true, so facts might just bounce off of them. You can talk as much as you want, the other person simply won't listen. In such a case, you can change your strategy. Try, for example, not to use arguments, but ask questions. Where did you get that story from? Or why do you believe that person in particular? Sometimes you're more successful if you ask a question than when you counter what somebody is saying. That's because some people are willing to consider your questions if you ask them in a friendly and honestly curious manner. Such questions also help you to point out the inconsistencies in such stories, and you can try to figure out together where a claim comes from and if it's logical. But it's important to understand that questions don't produce miracles. You need to be talking to somebody who's willing to consider your questions. Still, sometimes considerate and gentle questioning can help you have a deeper conversation. Now, a final recommendation. Always consider how easy or hard you make it for someone to accept the truth. It's possible, for example, that a member of your family posts a piece of falsehood into your family's WhatsApp group. You might want to reply first and write something like, "That's stupid, this is a made-up story." The harsher you phrase your reply, however, the more difficult you make it for the other person to consider your arguments. You could also try not to share the correct information with the entire group chat, but have a personal conversation first. So you could write a private message to your family member such as, "I have just read that you posted this article about this topic to our chat. I've recently seen that too, but then I realized that it wasn't from a reliable website. Here's more info." In some cases, a personal conversation is more efficient because you're not showing them their mistake in front of everyone else. Of course, this doesn't always work. Sometimes people just want to believe in false stories, no matter how smartly or considerately you talk to them. But still, it is a good idea to see if a friendly pointer to fact checks has some effect, because sometimes it does work out. We're never going to live in a world without this information. That would just be too good to be true. But we can do what it takes to stop some misleading news from spreading even more.